Most of us often chase rather pumps than established memes. And a green candle is somehow spoiled for us until it's screenshot. We stare at charts, forgetting it changes nothing. We watch charts, but not ourselves. This is a disaster. For as a result of confusing dopamine hits with actual profit, we are destroying our net worth. We are so tied up in FOMO and charts that we've lost all conviction. Time to wake up. What is alpha? Obviously, nobody can say, because it isn't just drawing lines on charts. It isn't rotation meta, that's just an idea. Alpha is the Giga cycle cannot be explained in words.
Ladies and gentlemen, probably mostly gentlemen, welcome back to another episode, another edition of Giga Motion. I am pumped for this one, joined as always by my co-host with the mother mostest, Chuck Crypto Mangione. We got his bro VisualizeFitness, an OG in the health and fitness community. But before we get into that, how you doing today, man?
I want to tell you have to forgive my co-host. He's from Canada. He cannot say mange to save his life. Just bear with that one.
I'm from Canada, and they think I'm slow, eh?
I'm good though, Shad, man. How you doing, brother?
Fantastic. Ooh, getting a little leggy today. A little leg, getting legs.
I saw that.
Do it. Yeah, I don't want to seduce anyone before the show starts with these beautiful milky whites. No,
Dude, you two could have a dome off right now.
What do you mean?
I definitely I am screen here easily.
How dare you?
Erik has one of the biggest domes I've seen in person, and you have one of the biggest domes I've seen on stream, and I'm just a little sick baby in the middle. There's nothing you can do about it.
Got that feeling.
But yeah, I'm super pumped for this one. So I've known Erik for 20 years. He moved into my town in like 7th or 8th grade, and I mean, we used to go to all these different gyms. It was like an old school Gold's gym by us. And then at one point, like 2 blocks down from his house, there was this physical therapy place we used to go in because he would work there. We could go there for free. And then we went to college. He roomed with me for a semester. And like when I tell you we worked out, so we were insane to the point where like our protein farts were so bad that we would put our garbage cans outside the door because we'd be like, it's the garbage. There's nothing I can do about this.
Those were the good days. Not much has changed.
But if they were in your room, wouldn't they realize that the garbage was now outside and the smell was still there?
You're talking sophomore year. So, you know?
It's science.
It was the first time because I used to study like a madman in college. Like I was a crazy person. He was the first time, like when he became my roommate, he would study with the music so loud, and I'd be like, I wonder how you learn like that. I'm like, there's no way he's passing these tests. Like, there's no way.
What were you listening to? What was the study go-to of choice?
Honestly, probably anything that, I'm not using any of it. So probably wasn't learning much of anything while I was doing it, to be honest. I mean, it was just, Wayne was big back then. So probably go through that, you know? So
Justin Timberlake, T.I. song.
Yeah, Jesus.
Dead
Yeah,
and
that was a big one. That was a big one. Oh, yeah.
That was a banger.
He would also play the same song 40 times in a row.
Yeah, might have been on repeat.
That's a sign of greatness, brother. That's a sign of greatness.
That's when I knew he put out a banger. That's when I knew it was going to top the charts. If I don't play it more than 5 times in a row, I mean, it's not a banger.
You're doing your part, bro. You're in you were in the Billboard trenches doing your part for your band.
Yeah, he should put out a tweet, like a thank you or something to me. I don't know.
A little something. A tip of the fedora at the very least.
But yeah, Erik, before we we get into it, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, your gym, your business. I think it's super interesting.
Yeah. So, my gym caters to pretty much everybody, athletes and adults, busy adults, mainly people that have kids, things like that, a lot of people come out and they say they don't have time to do things when realistically, they just don't prioritize their time. They don't want to do it. You know what I mean? That's really realistically the goal. We all have kids for the most part, married, we own businesses, we run businesses, but it's me showing them how to go about it and be able to actually get in their workout, see results, clear their mind, things like that. And just training for more longevity, honestly, for adults. Everyone chases the pump and things like that. I mean, shit, I still do too. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I mean, I need to feel good. I need to be able to move. And on the athlete side, exactly for that is I have to be able to move and groom these athletes to be able to perform at the highest level. So I have college athletes, high school, middle school. One of my middle schoolers is actually in 8th grade. She's a swimmer. She actually just qualified for states yesterday, second week. I mean, she's a workhorse. So shout out to Ellie. Really, really good job there. But it's a matter of, them understanding and buying into exactly what I'm doing. It's performance. It's making sure the nutrition's on point, making sure that they're stretching, doing mobility, things that I wish people told me, when we were younger. I mean, we were at, like you said, we were at Gold Gym, man, and we had 70-year-old old timers from the golden era telling us to bench 225, and I probably shouldn't have been benched 45-pound bar. So it's kind of the opposite now. It's working backwards and kind of seeing where the weaknesses are. Usually it's mobility, posterior chain. For most people, including adults, they come in, hammies are bad, back is bad. Adults, they're sitting all day, and so are kids. They're in school. So it's really not training anybody that different, except athletes, they need to be more explosive in a drop of a dime than an adult would be. For an adult, it's more of a matter of, you're walking down and someone bumps into you or something, you fall down and, are you going to be like crippled forever because you fell off a curb, or are you going to be able to get back up and walk away? Are you going to be able to run around with your kids? Your kids are outside running around. Are you going to be that dad that's, pretty much chair ridden and can't chase his kids around? I mean, the list goes on and on. So my job, for me, coming out when I was a younger guy, I saw how much the gym could do for me back then. I mean, I'm a shorter guy. Maj will tell you, I'm a shorter guy, but the weight room really helped me hold my own against everybody. I was able to go through college, play Division II baseball. I ended up winning Metrex Athlete of the Year there in college. And then I just took it and ran, man. I'm at this point right now, I'm at 165. I dropped about 25, 30 pounds from, I was doing some powerlifting. And now it's, I'm kind of back down to like 165, but I'm still able to, I just did a deadlift of 525. I think it was 525 the other day. So, it's all about how you train and what you want to train for. I don't do the 525 deadlift all the time, but athlete challenges me, I could still do it. You know what I'm saying? I got to try to keep up with these guys. So it's training for longevity. If I don't train that way for longevity, I can't do that. I'd be in a body bag lifting that bar. So it's keeping my joints healthy and, keeps me competitive with all these guys. It keeps me moving at the age of 36,
Cool stuff. Like, what's that guy's name? Dom, the one who went to the barn. What's that famous trainers?
Johnson Lavino. Yeah.
Saladino.
That was crazy. Yeah. I went to his house, had lunch. Great guy. really, really cool dude, interesting guy, welcoming. Then crazy thing is they run something over here called Stroh, New York. Maj, I don't know if you've probably heard of it, but I don't know if
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Kenny Santucci runs it. It's a great event. It actually is running September 27th. I'll be up there. And it's pretty much a big expo where like everybody in New York, it's called Stroh, New York, just piles up there. It's people from all over, but Don actually brought me to the front row and I sat there with, Dr. Gabrielle Lyons, Gunnar Peterson, like people I have no business, like sitting next to and talking to, but these guys were like great. They sat down, they talked to me, they shook my hand, they took the time to give me some knowledge and just, allowed me to pick their brain. That was like, crazy. And then on the flip side, I got to shout out my mentor right now, Joe DeFranco, who's, probably one of the biggest names in the strength conditioning industry. He's my mentor now. And it's crazy that I followed this dude since, probably 2007, I would say. And like to say that this dude is my friend now and I could text him and he's, my mentor, helping me with my business and, I'm picking his brain and it's crazy. It's really surreal how far you could really take things if you put your head down and just grind and work and, do good by people and good things happen. You know what I mean? That's really the truth. I believe that. And that's why I'm in this business. Not just, it's not a money maker. It's more, how can I change someone's life? How can I get someone from point A to point B and get them to the goal that they want to get to? If it's just simply moving better or winning a state title or something as a swimmer, how do I get them there? But that's ultimately what I live by. Do good by people and good things happen. So that's kind of what I try to, really bring to the table every single day,
Love that. Do you still talk to Mike Dulce at all? You were learning a ton from him.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from him too. Took his education and stuff. Yeah, that was that was a pretty cool one. So he taught me a ton too. I mean, I still go through his book and all the notes he gave us. That was a really cool experience too, to hear how UFC fighters. I mean, those guys.
I was gonna say, man, he's like one of the premier UFC nutritionists. I mean,
insane. Insane. His style, the way he goes about it. I mean, he doesn't miss. I think his I think his rate was something like, I think he says like 99 point. He's got the stats. 99, 100, like it's close to 100 probably. It's insane.
Yeah, never missed weight when they go with him. Yeah, it's crazy.
Insane. And they perform at a high level. So it's not like he's starving them. You know what I mean? He's feeding them properly and they're trained pit bulls ready to go into a cage, man. It's wild. It's crazy to think, but really, really cool. A lot of cool stuff, man, over the course of the years of starting out in that Small Gulch gym and, now here having my own gym. It's been a ride. That's for sure.
I love mobility, bro. I'm literally doing, right after this, I'm going straight to a power yoga class and then a spine mobility and then a front split mobility class. So the exact kind of stuff I train, bro.
Dude, it's probably the most important thing for guys, our age that are, we're training, we're constantly beating our bodies up. I know Manj, I'm sure he has probably told his story before. He's a dock builder and did all that stuff. Wears and tears on your bones, your shoulders and stuff like that. If you lose your mobility, man, you might not wake up, feeling too good in the morning. You know what I mean? Most of our problems in our back, our knees and things like that come from our hips. So there's something called the joint by joint theory, where pretty much everything will start to either trickle down or up the stream. So if my knees are bad, my hips are probably going to be bad. My ankles are bad, my knees will probably suck. If my hips are bad, my back is bad. So like typically if you have a low back issue, it's probably stemming from your hips. So some hip mobility exercises, some stretches and things like that might cure that. It might not necessarily take a chiropractor or a PT. For anybody listening, I might save you, a quick $50 copay every 3 days that you might be going there. Stretch your hips, check your mobility, and hit all of those things. And you're probably going to save yourself a boatload of money going to those PTs.
What's your go-to? Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
I'm saying I've had knee problems for the last couple of years, and I went to a Pilates class the other day. And before the stream says it gay, I know. I went to a Pilates class the other day, and yeah, I could just see all of the imbalances in my hip strength. The Pilates. There's this Pilates wheel that you hold. People are watching the stream that don't know it's a wheel, and you have to squeeze it. And you're doing kind of lowering and raising your legs while doing these perpetual squeezes and tension. Bro, a couple minutes of that, I was completely wrecked.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's tough. It's hard, man. Some of these girls, they leave and they could probably kick our ass. There's a good chance. They're
easy.
Than they look.
Easy on that.
Maybe I'm speaking for myself.
They have better hip mobility, but let's relax.
So I see Hop asked, what should be the physical standard for men? That's a good question to start with.
Physical standard as far as just strength?
Yeah, I'm assuming he just means like general health. Yeah, like strength.
I'm a big, if you're talking strength alone, some of the metrics that I want my adults to hit. So anybody, you have to be realistic and meet people where they are. But my typical for a middle-aged adult like us would be, you should be able to do 12 chin-ups, unassisted, full, dead hang chin-ups. You should be able to do 40 unbroken push-ups. That's what even I have my high school athletes do. You should be able to squat your body weight minimum, bench your body weight minimum, and deadlift your body weight minimum. If you could do those 5 things, you're in pretty damn good shape, because the chin-up alone is going to teach you if you have good relative strength, right? So relative strength is my body weight, right? And can I move it, right? So my size. For instance, if I was going to go against an NFL linebacker or a defensive end, that dude is probably going to bench press 500 pounds, but he also might weigh 350. Whereas if I bench 500 pounds and I weigh 165, like who's stronger? Me. You know what I mean? He'll kick my ass. He'll run me over, but I'm going to be on the strength curve. I'm a stronger individual than he is. So if you do chin-ups and you look at your relative strength, usually it's either your strength is too low if you can't do them, or you're too heavy. One of the two. So for me, I know if I go down and I'm like doing chins and I get like 10 and I'm like really struggling, it's probably not my strength. It's probably I put on a couple pounds over the winter, watching the Giants suck. You know what I mean? So
in there, brother.
It's a big those two or those 5 things. The chin up is a big one, but those 5 things are typically my go-tos where I think most adults should be able to do that for sure. I mean, that's your body weight. You should be able to move it around. You know what I mean?
Are there any
sorry, Sean, go ahead.
No, so are there any flexibility or mobility kind of biomarkers for physical standards that you could?
Yeah, I mean, I'm big with, like I said, I'm big with as far as mobility and flexibility, I'm big with hips. All right. So you were just talking about it actually doing I have something called an out and wood hip mobility protocol. Actually, I have it on my face on my Instagram, I actually think. It's pinned up there if anybody wants to check it out. But I go through it's a side split, a front split, hip rockers, which is essentially you're in a side split position, but you're half kneeling and you're just rocking back and forth to get to your abductors. And then on top of that, you're going to go out and you're going to go and do your hip switches after. So, I mean, there's a mobility and flexibility protocol for me. I'm not necessarily telling people that they should be able to do a split, but I mean, you got to be able to lay on the floor and you should be able to touch your toes. You should be able to thoracic spine, for instance, like that's where most people fail out and move around. So you should be able to dead hang. All right. You should be able to hold your body weight, dead hang, let your lats, let everything stretch out, let that glenohumeral move. But you should also be able to touch your toes, simple stuff. I mean, so it's not necessarily a biometric that I'm looking for. It's when someone walks through the door, that's when the coaching begins. So if I see somebody walk in and they're, limping on one side, or their shoulders are retracted, or whatever the case may be, because, they have been sitting all day, or they just have really bad posture. Like I know off the bat, like, all right, this guy's got a really bad back, or girl's got a really bad back. I got to pull her back and make sure that that's all good. So it's not necessarily a biomarker or metric that I'm looking for. It's more like you walk through the door, this is anatomically how you should look. You should be stacked in a straight line. You know what I mean? If you're not, okay, where are we failing? What's going on? So I'll have them do your typical stuff like overhead squat assessments and things like that. See if their lats and see if their upper backs fall down, stuff. But it's really more movement quality based, I would say, rather than an actual biomarker or a metric that I'm looking for them to hit, because movement quality is mobility and flexibility together, and the strength around the joint. So it's my job to put them all together, but it's really just watching that individual walk in. It's highly individual when it comes to, flexibility and mobility, for sure.
Let's try not to jump over Mang again. I keep jumping in front of him. Well, so one of the things I really recommend for people is just, a lot of people kind of have a closed mind when it comes to yoga, Pilates, whatever it is, right? We've just been kind of conditioned like, oh, that's for chicks or whatever. If you can just try these different classes, one of the things I find with trying, especially I go to a really good gym here in Bali called Nirvana, and they have very specialized, because oftentimes you go to a mobility class, it's general mobility. That's good, right? You get to take a peek at every part of your body, but you don't get to make the same level of progression. These guys have all specialized ones, 6 or 7 different mobility classes. And it's kind of incredibly humbling, because oftentimes when one part of our body's tight, we might be even more flexible in another area of our body due to overcompensation. But when you go, for instance, like my upper back, incredibly flexible. My front split, good. I can drop full down to front split. But when I do stuff like ankle and hip mobility, like that's where I really get to see my weaknesses. So for people even going and trying these classes, just to identify where those weaknesses are, so you have an idea of where to start. Because we often, when you're stretching on your own, you tend to just do the stretches that you're comfortable with. And as a result, you're like, oh, okay, I'm kind of flexible. But when you actually go to these classes that put you outside of your comfort zone, then you actually realize the places that you really need to target for growth.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, 1,000,000%. I mean, definitely. I mean, try everything. I mean, yoga, like you said, is incredibly humbling, like incredibly. People make fun of it, but I mean, there's a reason why NFL players who are, I think some of the best athletes in the world, they do it. It's just, it helps for sure. no doubt in my mind. It's a good point you brought up as far as ankles and stuff like that. Like you could do there. I'm a big loaded stretch guy. So like say my ankles are tight and I'm doing some like ankle CARs, which is essentially bringing my knee over my toe. And I'm essentially taking my knee and I'm drawing a box left. And then I'm going to go back around the other side. And I'm pretty much just drawing big squares right and left. I feel tight. Sometimes I just take a kettlebell or a dumbbell, whatever you have that you can weight down. I'll stand on top of either a slant board, or if you don't have a slant board available, just anything you can elevate a plate. I put my balls and my feet on top, and then I really just sit on top of that, and I weight it down by taking the dumbbell and just crossing over and putting it on top in my hand. So I have like a single leg weighted hold that I'll just sit and hold and let my hamstrings, let my calves really like lengthen before I do anything. I mean, it takes me, my wife makes fun of me. It takes me like a good, 10-minute warm up to like get myself going. I mean, I wish I was 18 again. I could just throw weights around, but like you said, I mean, my ankles don't give anymore. I have to do all these things. I think most people skip over a good warm up and mobility before they lift. And I think that's the biggest kiss of death ever. I mean, it's crazy.
Take us through that warm up that you do.
So depending on the day, so I'll give you like an upper body mobility and warm up would be, I would start off with a dead hang with some scap depression. So dead hang, let my body hang like a slab of meat, let your body really relax. I don't go by seconds, I go by breaths. I go nasal breathe. All right. I go a good 7 deep breaths. All right. Nasal breathing really, really helps keep the heart rate down and really helps my body relax, should help everybody's body. But I understand nasal breathing is kind of an art. You got to kind of get into it. It's a whole nother topic in of itself, but nasal breathing. Then I go into, just some T-spine mobility work. So I'll do like a world's greatest stretch where I'm working through my hips. I'm working through some rotations over there. Then I'll go into a little bit of opening.
Can you explain that world's greatest stretch? You sent me that years ago now, probably 4 years ago. That is one of the best stretches I've ever done. And it's like a one. I think that one's super slept on.
Yeah, it's great too because it checks off a lot of boxes. So if you're someone that truly you're going to rail your head against the wall and really push to not warm up, like this one will check off at least a lot of boxes where you're putting yourself in a little bit of a better situation than just doing nothing. You essentially go into a split squat stance, all right? A lunge, for those of you that don't know what a split squat stance is, all right? And in that split squat stance, I want my back knee to get as close to the floor as I can. Not on it, just kind of kissing it a little bit. From that position, I'm going to be down. So my hands, see what you guys here. So my hands are down right in front of me. If my right knee is out, all right, if that's the front leg, I'm going to turn into my right leg and I'm going to open my body and come back. It's a slow turn. All right. You should keep your eyes on your hand the whole entire time. So your head is looking up at the same time. We want that T-spine to open. So you don't want to just sit there and just haphazardly just kind of move your arm back and forth because you're going to get nothing out of that. But yeah, you want to keep your eyes glued to your hand. That one checks off a lot of boxes. Your hips start opening, your T-spine gets hit. You're getting your hip flexors. I mean, you're getting a lot of movement there. I didn't coin it the world's greatest stretch, but somebody did. And I do believe it's one of the top stretches that I do. Another good one is literally laying across a foam roller. So my foam roller is going this way across my the bottom of my scaps. I'll take a kettlebell and I'll just have an anchored thoracic extension. Really let the spine just go in its natural curvature over and just try to open myself up that way. After I go through some opening activities, I'll go through some actual like plyometrics and warm-ups. I'll do some, for instance, like a clapping push-up or regular push-ups. If you can't do those, I might do
warm-up, huh? This is all part of this upper body warm-up.
Oh yeah. So I'll go through 90-90s on the floor. I'll grab some 5-pound dumbbells and do 90-90 switches, which is in here, up and down. I'm lying down on the floor. I'll make sure my rotators are ready.
Elevating your elbow to do that?
No, I actually keep them straight on top of the floor. Yeah. So I'm just laying down on the floor and I'm just down and back. And you'll notice if you're tight, if you go down an internal rotation, your whole shoulder will literally like roll with you. You'll know like, all right, I got to do a little bit more work into my pec. So the other big one, I'm a big band guy. I love bands. I think they're like the most underutilized tool in the toolbox.
Agreed.
I take the bands, I go in, I'll do some band pull aparts to open up my upper back and get some blood flow into my delts and my upper back. And then what I'll do is I'll do banded dislocates where I go behind my back back, forward. So now I'm getting into my shoulder, my pec, everything starts to really open up. So there's there's so many other ways you can go about it, but those are ones that I just went through are really like the tried and true top 10 that I would do, depending on what it is. And maybe I'll do some more tricep work, things like that, depending on the lift that I'm doing. So maybe I'll do some triceps to warm up my elbows a little bit and kind of get things moving that way. But yeah, man, I think if anybody takes anything from this podcast right now, it would be, do not skip your warm up. It is the single most important thing. If you have 15 minutes, I would say do 10 minutes of a warm up and pick up a 5-minute AMRAP. Do like 10 push-ups and 10 bodyweight squats or 10 squat, whatever you have at your disposal, and do 5-minute AMRAP and just keep going back and forth, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Kind of like what we did during COVID. During that time, we just had that check off, that box, that was pretty wild.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I talked about it during COVID. We started a competition. Me and my buddy made like a fully interactive spreadsheet, and it was all based on, we weren't allowed to go to the gym, right? So it was everything you could do at home, right? It was a lot of like push-ups. We actually added in kettlebells because people had kettlebells. You could do some dumbbell stuff, but we made it a point system. And man, that was incredible. I get those things on my Snapchat, the memories, and it'd be like 700 push-ups, like 2.5 hour workout.
Yeah, that was when Mom challenged me to run a little bit. So I've never done anything more than, honestly, truly, this is true story, maybe 1.5 miles. Like, I'm just not a runner. I play baseball. I mean, shit, I stop at first base, but I want to stop at first base, 90 feet, man. So at the end of the day, pretty much was like, yo, go run, do this, do that. And like, finally just, I don't know what he said that just set me off, but I decided to just run 10 miles off the couch without training, nothing. Just got up off my couch. I put on my shoes, and I was like running 10 miles. So I ran from my house to my buddy's house, who lives down by the water, about 10 miles away. And I had that Under Armour tracker. It was just like, yo, I ran 10 miles. He was like, no way. So I just sent it out to the group. I was like, I think I won today. I think I did it. I mean, my wife had to pick me up, and I felt like I was dying, but I did it. It was, was what it was. That was a fun time, man. Jesus, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, COVID times. Jesus Christ.
So you mentioned your warm up. Do you have any protocol for like a cool down or anything like that? Or is that
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a big breather at the end. So aside from, everybody knows or should know that you should stretch out, kind of bring your body back down to baseline. So the reason being on the cool down, you don't want to just leave the gym, right? You just lifted, maybe you finished your last set of push-ups or curls or whatever it is that you might be doing. You don't want to leave with your heart kind of beating out of your chest. What you want to do is you want to cool down. The reason why it aids digestion, right? So people leave and they just start swigging down protein shakes and stuff. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but your body's not going to utilize all of those nutrients the right way because your digestion is not going to kick in. Your body's working hard to slow itself down and limit, and mitigate the stress response. It's good stress, but it's stress. So your body's working hard to mitigate that. So what I do is I go down, I lay down, and I actually play breathing music. Like you can find it on YouTube or anything like that, where it's box breathing. All right. 2 in, 2 out, all that. And, I'll sit there, I'll put my feet up on a wall so that my legs are at a 90-degree angle. I'm lying flat, palms are up. And I literally just follow that breathing protocol until I think it's about 5 minutes. I breathe down, dude, and you feel totally at ease. Your muscles are relaxed, your body's relaxed. And now when you go home and you go to have that post-workout meal, you're good to go. You're going to digest. So it's definitely, cool down, arguably just as important as the warm up. I mean, yeah, if you're in a rush and you got to go somewhere, it's not gonna kill you. But yeah, 100%, man. The cool down is huge.
So you're taking yourself out of that sympathetic state into a parasympathetic
absolutely.
To enhance recovery and promote digestion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's so important, man. Recovery is everything. You know what I mean? People want to go to the gym 7 days a week and beat their body up. I tell everybody all the time, including, my coaches over at my gym, is, anybody can come off the street and put something on a board and make you tired and sweaty. You know what I mean? And anybody could do that. It's easy. You know what I mean? But to actually have something programmed where there's recovery installed in there, like, hey, you need to take a day or two, or hey, we're going to actually kind of deload you a little bit. You look a little bit beat up. Your joints are hurting. Let's scale back. The recovery aspect's everything. That's when you grow. I mean, you know, like Shiny, you got muscle, man. I mean, you're talking to me about yoga and stretching. I know you're doing recovery, you know what I mean? Whereas a guy that probably doesn't have much, you know, muscle tone and maybe is like, dude, I'm running myself to the ground 7 days a week. I don't get it. It's like, dude, it's because you're not giving your chance. You're not giving your body a chance to grow.
I used to do that, bro. We get addicted to exercise to the point where you feel like, what's the stat? It takes 3 weeks or something for muscles to actually atrophy. But in our minds, we're so addicted to that dopamine and that feeling of progression and that relief that exercise gives us that I would do the same thing. Like no days off. If I was tired, instead of recovery, I was just going to ramp more stimulants, take some, you know, ephedrine and aspirin and caffeine and just push through red line until I'd get injured and just be completely burnt out and then useless because my nervous system was just destroyed.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, it's something I see all the time, even at my gym now. I mean, most people, you know, they understand it once I put them through what we preach over at our gym. But I mean, I would say it's arguably most people's problem is that they go to gyms, they go to a lot of corporate places and things like that where, you know, the coaches or trainers are not really coaching you. They're just kind of following the screen and they're just like, hey, you know, follow the guy on the screen. He's doing a squat and this and that. And it's all about loud music and they're running around and, you know, no one's really, you know what I mean? They're not getting anything out of that other than they're tired and sweaty. You know what I mean? So when people come over, like I have a bunch of people that switched over from like F45 or Orange Theory. The biggest difference is that they're like, it's controlled. You know what I mean? Like there's conditioning, but there's different types of conditioning. You know what I mean? I'm not just like, hey, go, you know, do 100 calories on the bike. And then after you do that, we're going to do 100 burpees and then we're going to do 100 sprint. Like, we're not getting anywhere with that. They're not getting conditioned. You know what I mean? Conditioning is just conditioning your brain to be able to handle load. That's all conditioning is. People think conditioning is like beating your heart out of your chest and like passing out. You know what I mean? Conditioning, think of a UFC fighter going back to like Mike Dolce, is a UFC fighter is conditioning his brain to be able to handle the stress and the load in the environment that he's in. That's all conditioning is. You know what I mean? Cardio is what most people are talking about when they're talking about like sweating and their heart pumping out of their chest and all that stuff. And even then it's overkill. You don't, you know, to do 35 minutes of cardio. And then how are you going to go and progress on a lift? You know, hey, go lift your max weight right now. Go bench 100 pounds and see how it goes. You know what I mean? Like you don't have the output. It's impossible. Your energy system and energy stores are tapped. So when they finally figure that out and they come over, they're like, oh, wow, I went from 15-pound dumbbells and now I'm benching 30-pound dumbbells and now I'm up to 4. It's like, yeah, because now you could actually progress and move up. I mean, that's how you build muscle is progression, whether that's reps, load, depending on what it is that you're looking to do. You can't progress if you're constantly beating yourself up. It's just not possible.
The athletes that you have like in high school, is it like, do you get worried about them lifting too much? Like what's your goal when you're approaching them? Is it just performance, right? Like is it tailored to their sport? I know you do a lot of baseball too.
It's tailored to their sport. It's very tailored to their sport, but at the same time, I mean, you know, I hate the saying a squat's a squat, but like it kind of is, you know what I mean? Like for instance, like any newcomers, I don't load their spine. Like if they have no training age or anything like that, the odds of me putting a barbell on their back is probably 0, like 0.00. So I give them goblet squats and things that they can do to not load their spine. And then performance wise, you know, what are their goals? You know what I mean? Like baseball players, we have to be fast on a drop of a dime. And then, you know, you don't really have to, you know, there's not much going on in between pitches sometimes, you know what I mean? Whereas a football player, you got to be fast at the drop of the dime. You got to be able to hold 10 to 30 second spurts, depending on what the play is and what happens. You know what I mean? So it really is tailored to the sport, but for an athlete too, most of them are mission oriented and they're looking for a goal, right? And an athlete's not going to come to the gym and you know, just not care. They're going to come to the gym because they want to win a state title or they want to compete for something or whatever. So most of the time they're pretty under control. I usually have to pull the reins back on an athlete where it's like, hey dude, like do it right. Hey, 5 sets of 5, right? We're looking to build strength. I don't need the 5 reps to be like my arms are all over the place. I need a clean 5 reps. I want control. I want to control the eccentric. And then I go kind of through a triphasic style of training, I guess, by Cal Dietz. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but it's essentially an eccentric phase, an isometric phase, and then a concentric phase. So eccentric, you're working on really lowering and controlling. So that helps muscle control, neuromuscular adaptations and stuff like that to build muscle. isometric. Now we're going holding, we're lengthening that muscle. We're really trying to build up a lot of quality and load the muscle. And then concentric, we want to be boom, explosive and fast. So I kind of wave in and out, and then it changes in season to season. I mean, athletes are tough because, you know, nowadays everything is 365 days. So it's like they don't really have an off season per se. You have like an off season of like 6 weeks, you know, especially for your college guys. Like my college guys, they come back in the summer and they have 8 weeks maybe, you know what I mean? It depending on if they make playoffs or they don't make playoffs or whatever. And then when they come to me, you know, especially lacrosse players and things like that, they're banged up, man. It's an aggressive sport. So my knee hurts, my shoulder hurts. So now it's like, it's not like they're coming to me and we're like, all right, we're picking up where we left off. Let's go. You know, they're coming to me with pains and aches that I have to try and, you know, help them through before we go. Which leads me to, with athletes, they're always hurt. There's always something going on, right? It's a long season for whatever sport that they play. It's, you know, a matter of coaching them with where they are in that point. You know, most of the time, man, you have something in your head, you have a plan set up, and it just out the window. You know, you see the kid walk in, you're like, no, we can't do this. So nothing's ever rigid and set in stone. And that's mostly for everybody, but with most of my athletes too, it's just making sure that they're A, healthy, reducing the risk of injury, and then B, making sure that they can stay explosive throughout the season. Like we don't want to see any attrition where it's going down. For us, I use VALD technology where we do dynamometer testing and we test their rotators, their internal, external rotation and stuff to make sure their strength is up. But nonetheless, you have attrition no matter what, because it's a long season, but we want to see it kind of coast down, not dip. This way, when they start their off-season training, it's here instead of like, all right, wow, we got to really build them and bottom them back up. So athletes are a little bit more intricate, man, for sure. It's a lot more thought. It's a lot more thought-provoking. I mean, a lot of college athletes come in with their programming from their strength coaches, and it's very cookie cutter because they have upwards of 100 and some odd, 150 athletes. They're not going to make individualized programs. So that's where I come in, where my athletes come in and we go. And I have a UConn athlete who she just got Big East Player of the Year. She's a savage. She's awesome. And she comes down, man. And when I say like we grind, we go, you know, we work around injuries and we figure it out. Like just because you're hurt doesn't mean you need to like lay in bed in an X. Like we got to figure it out. We got to keep you moving. We got to keep you performing. Otherwise, you're going to be behind. And I'm fortunate enough, man. She's had some knee stuff, knee contusions and stuff like that we worked around. And she came back. I think she holds the record, I think, on her team for like squats, for her deadlift, for all that stuff. She's checked. I mean, she's beaten or broken everything. She's got the highest sprint speed. I mean, she's a freak. You know what I mean? Like she comes in and works extremely hard, but all of my athletes do. I mean, they come in and it's, you know, they're ready to rock. I mean, I couldn't say, you know, enough about, and I think it's part of the culture that we're building. You know, it's, they know, they come to me. It's not, we're not fucking around. You know, we're going in and we're lifting and no one's phone is out. We're not like, you know, texting and doing, it's like the phone sits on the bench and, you know, if you got enough time to text, like you ain't working hard, man. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. They know it and they push.
Now, what about like you were talking about these like regular adults that come in? What kind of energy do you have with them? What's the goal with them? Do they have specific goals, or you, like you said, you're just trying to get them healthy?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, you know, their health, obviously, right? But I mean, most people come in, right? Adults, I mean, including probably us too. You know, if someone were to ask you like just off the cuff, hey, what's your goal? It's I want to, you know, get leaner. I want to, you know, look a certain way. I want to burn some fat. I want to put on more muscle, right? But that's not really why they're coming. You know what I mean? Like that's the generic answer most people have. It's a byproduct of what they're really there for, which is typically like something is happening or something happened. So meaning like they got a bad health checkup, you know, like their doctor told them that their blood work was no good, or cholesterol's high, or I have a wedding coming up and my son's, you know, there's always an underlying thing. So it's really trying to find out what the adult is really there for. And then the other thing is the energy, man. I mean, you know me, man. I bounce off the wall. I mean, I average, my gym's only 2,000 or 2,500 square feet, man. I average 24,000 steps. Like I must run around like I'm on cocaine or something. I don't know, like Wolf of Wall Street, bro, you know? So I bounce off the walls all over the place, you know? So on my energy level, man, I don't care if you're an athlete or, an adult, man, I'm freaking, I'm on you. You know what I mean? I'm like ready to go. They're like, how the hell did he just see me? And like, I'm like the guy from Mr. Deeds, bro, let me change your socks. You know what I mean? I'm freaking out of nowhere,
Trying to think of some good questions for like these guys our age, a little older. Let's talk about nutrition a little bit.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest problem you see with nutrition in the adults that you have coming in your gym?
There's two, man. There's two that really stand out. One is there's women, right, that are under eating, right? They still believe in the, move more, eat less thing. That's like the biggest thing for women. Like, how much are you eating? And they're like, I eat like a whale. And they're like, all right, hey, show me, just track for me for a week and we'll meet on Monday and we'll see what's going on. And they're like 900 calories. And they're like, oh, that's a lot. I'm like, dude, 900 calories. Like that might be my breakfast. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like there's that, right? And then the other aspect is kind of twofold for the men, right? The men think that they're eating a ton and they're eating a ton of the wrong thing. They're eating a ton of, fats, carbs, and, missing their protein goal, say, or the other thing is just not knowing what to eat, right? So they'll come out and they'll eat tons and tons and tons of, processed stuff, thinking that, okay, like, well, this says 40 grams of protein, but they're not realizing like that Metrex bar has 1,000,000 grams of sugar in there. And like, they could have got, a Bear Bell, for instance, for the same price, and they could have gotten a way better option. So it's very, it's twofold. And then of course your typical, snackers, they're pickers. So like they'll walk by the pantry if they got kids and one cookie, now they walk past it again, another cookie. And then it's like, sleeve of Oreos is gone. So that I would say like it's a lot of typical stuff that I think most adults deal with. It's very rare that you have, the adult that's eating perfectly balanced and they come in and they're like, I need to lose 3 pounds and 1% body fat. Can you help me? Like those people have it down. They're not coming to me for that, And then
so what do you do to fix that? What do you do? What kind of system do you put those guys on to
usually
to clean that up?
Yeah, usually habit stacking, man. It's teaching them to eat the right stuff first. But I mean, while we're on the nutrition topic, I mean, it's the hottest thing out there right now, right? Is Ozempic and peptides and things like that. And there's a lot of really, really good peptides and things that really help, like BPC 157, and it shows, the studies for gut health. And like, there's a ton of really, really good research and science-based stuff for anybody that wants to delve into that. That again, conversation for another time, but they want to hop to that because they think that's the end all be all. Okay, I'm going to take this, and then I'll be good. I'm going to do TRT. Like that's the first conversation most men want to have. I'm going to do TRT because I'm 42 years old and, it's time. It's like, all right, well, are you sleeping? Well, I sleep 4 hours. Okay. How's your nutrition? Well, I'm a truck driver and I stop at Wendy's every night and I do this. Okay. I only work out once a week, if maybe once every 2 weeks. Yeah. I have kids, so I can't get down to the gym, and it snowballs. Like most people don't want to do the boring shit. So like, I always tell people when it comes to nutrition, like master the boring shit first, like hit your protein, just focus on protein focused meals. So every meal that you have, where it's a snack, breakfast, lunch, dinner, have a protein in there, whether that's eggs, chicken, meat, whatever it is that you like, make it protein focused, right? If you're a vegan, God bless you. I could never do that. But if you're a vegan, get yourself some protein supplements. You know what I mean? Like there's ways that you can get these things in and still hit it. You know what I mean? Try and master the boring shit. Sleep right. Get your 8 hours. For me, I operate well on 6. That's like the most I can get because I'm up at 3:50 every morning. So like I it is what it is. I get 6 hours, but I mean 6 to 8 hours. Are you recovering from your workouts like we were just talking about a little while ago? Are you eating the right foods? Like focus on this stuff before you're like TRT is the answer. Because if your lifestyle doesn't change and you don't have good habits in place, give a shit what you take, unless you're taking some serious gear, like, it doesn't, then it won't matter. You know what I mean? At that point, you're probably so far gone that it's like, good, best of luck to you. See you around. You know what I mean? So I go through habit stacking, man. It's like, start with small stuff. Like most people want to do all in. I don't agree with like an all in approach because most people fail, right? Instead of all in, why not like always something? You know what I mean? Like just something. Like, make sure if you couldn't eat the right meals, okay, get your 8 hours of sleep. All right, you couldn't get your 8 hours of sleep, eat the right meals, go to the gym. Like, you could always do something to move yourself forward. But people, they don't want the boring. They look on Instagram and they see, this sexy chick with great abs and a big fat ass, and they're like, what is she taking? Oh, it's this peptide. It's the
Anavar and a BBL.
yeah, exactly. But they don't say that. She's been doing squats and taking the fat burner, that the newest one that's out there.
But it's interesting how trying to do one, but it's interesting how one often influences the other. Like, there's the studies like when you don't get proper sleep, you have enhanced sugar cravings.
Yep.
So it's interesting how you try to do one, but they all influence each other so much.
Oh yeah, it's nuts, and when people take on too much, you know what I mean? When they try to hit everything in one shot, like they're bad sleepers, they're bad eaters, and they don't go to the gym, and they're like, all right, well, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days and I'm going to sleep 8 hours. And I'm like, no, you're not. You know what I mean? No, you're not. You might for a week, you know what I mean? For 3 days, but then your kid's going to get sick. Then Johnny's going to have a basketball game. And then, you were up late because you had to grade papers. Most of my people are teachers. A lot of them were cops. So like, they're out there and they're, I worked the midnight tour, so I'm tired. I can't do it. You know what I mean? There's always going to be something, an obstacle. It's how do you deal with that obstacle? And an obstacle is just that, right? There's always a way around it or over it. You just have to plan ahead. If you plan, you're good. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to instill is like, look, plan for it. That your son has a basketball schedule. Look at the schedule, man. Sit down for a minute and like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he's got basketball practice, and Thursday he's got games. All right, what time's practice? 6. Okay, come at 4. You know what I mean? Like, there's always a way. Then there was a great conversation I had in Starbucks about a month ago. This guy comes over to me, sees my shirt on that I'm wearing, and he's like, oh man, you work out, you own a gym? I said, yeah, He's like, oh, where is it? I'm like, oh, right up there. He's like, man, I've been looking to lose weight. So him and I start talking. I'm like, yeah, man, what have you been doing? Same stuff, not sleeping, eating, whatever. And he goes, yeah, really, really wish I can get to the gym. You have any tips for me? I'm like, yeah, what's your schedule like? Oh, I work 9 to 5. I said, oh, okay, can you come after the gym? And you seem like you like to sleep. Do you want to come after? No. You have time during lunch? No. I'm like, all right, man. So then the only option, wake up early. We have a 5 a.m. class. Why don't you come down at 5 a.m.? No. I said, all right, so then do me a favor. Just stay the way you are. Everything seems to be working out pretty good. Just stay where you are. He's like, wait, no, what do you mean? I just told you I want to lose 10 pounds. I said, no, you don't. It's like, I just gave you like 5 options. And then sure enough, now I'm working with him. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, because, look, you got to be honest sometimes with people, right? Like people don't want honesty. They want you to tell them that it's okay. Like dad bod, like that's the new commercial out right now, right? That's, that shouldn't be a norm. You're preaching unhealthy things, like, oh yeah, go ahead and have 6 beers, 7 beers a night and go have the wings every night. Yeah, don't worry. It's a little pudgy. Whatever. No big deal. It's like what? Like what? Arnold Schwarzenegger, poor guy, the whole era is gone,
And then guys with dad bods will do the cop out of like, oh, well, women actually find it attractive. No, they find it attractive when Leonardo DiCaprio has it on his private yacht. Like, you do not find it attractive when your broke ass has it. Like,
exactly. Yeah. If I have $1 million in my account, maybe.
It has nothing to do with the physique. If they could pick a fit Leonardo DiCaprio over a dad bod one, they would pick that every time.
Yeah, 100%.
You are not him. That does not work.
Yeah, and look, man, someone, there'll be people, I'm sure, that are like, what about power lifters? It's like, dude, well, you lifting 900 pounds? No, I lift 50. And you're okay. You know what I mean? So there's always nuances to all this stuff, right? I mean, if that's what you want to do and you're happy in your body, then okay. You know what I mean? But then that same person's going to ask you, like, how do I tone up my shoulders? It's like, dude, you got to drop weight. You know what I mean? That's how you got to do it. You tone up, you got to build muscle. That's how you got to do it. It's not going to happen by just doing the same old thing you've been doing. You know what I mean? So yeah, like you said, 100%,
Nuts. The kids, I have kids. I can't, that one always drives me nuts. Cause it was like today I did not have time to get to the gym. I knew I wasn't going to have time to get to the gym. We're leaving tomorrow. My wife's brother's getting married, dude. She made me trim my mullet. I feel like I got neutered. It hurt, man. But like I knew I was gonna have no time today or tomorrow. So when I was outside with my kids today, I had my 72-pound kettlebell on the street with me, and I was doing squats and valley presses with it while they were riding their bikes around.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Like I call those micro workouts. Yeah, like I call them micro workouts, man. And you just you know, like you don't have to sit at a gym for an hour and a half. I mean, look, when we were all 18, 20 years old and you know, like, yeah, we could sit at the gym for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Look at all the chicks that walk by and work out. It's great. You know what I mean? But like now we're married, we got kids, we got jobs, we got mortgages to pay and all these things. Like I'm not at the gym for more than 45 minutes. You know what I mean? If I can't get there, I'm at my gym in between, you know, clients. I'm like I set up a barbell and I'll just do like as many, you know, military presses as I can, as many bench presses as I can, as many squats. And I'll do like 5 sets of 10. You know what I mean? And then rack it. Then the next 15 minutes, I'll do 5 sets of 10 bench press. And like, you just find micro workouts and believe it or not, like I recover so much better that way, truthfully. Like, and I get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, no, that kettlebells kind of taught me that too, where it doesn't always have to just be like you crush this super intense workout, you know, because like we talked about Pavel Tazzolini last time, like he takes a lot of breaks in his, you know, in between sets. And that's kind of what I do when I'm with the kids. It's like, I can't get some rigorous schedule in. It's like, I'm doing a set of something and then I might not do it again for 5 minutes and then I do another set. And you're right. Like you keep the strength. I've been surprised how much strength I've been able to keep not being able to do like you said, like that rigorous schedule. And I think a lot of it is recovery, you know, like as long as your diet's real good, you tend to hang on to that strength pretty good. You know, it definitely works.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I think as we get older, I think less volume sometimes is more, you know what I mean? Like where we used to go 4 or 5 working sets, maybe 2 working sets, like build up, warm up, get yourself kind of going and do 2 hard sets and then move on. You know what I mean? And I've recovered better. I've felt better, you know, haven't lost size. I've gained muscle. Like it just changes, you know, it truly does change as you get older. You know what I mean? Like you just got to change, you know, you got to keep yourself training somehow, you know, like I go crazy.
Die, baby.
Yeah. Like you just got to move, you know what I mean? That's it. And you got to figure out what works best for you. Like a military press sometimes for me doesn't work great. So what I do is I set an angle of a 75-degree angle on a bench. Here's a tip for anybody with shoulder pain. Set a bench 75 degrees. All right. So it's just a slight incline just past 90. And dude, I'm telling you, you're not going to have any pain almost. All right. I mean, that might not work for everybody. So I shouldn't say 100%, but it's been pretty damn effective where you can grab yourself dumbbells, you're on a slight incline, and now I'm shoulder pressing. I have no pain. You know what I mean? So I found, okay, like now years of baseball, I don't have to worry about it. I could shoulder press now. And, you know, I had 90s up the other day, 100s up the other day, and it was fine. You know what I mean? There was no like, you know, I didn't feel like my shoulder was going to pop out of its socket or anything. Whereas if I was straight up, I'd be like pouring sweat, ready to, you know, I had to drag myself out and drive home with my teeth. You know what I mean? So
Shine, I know you got a hard out in what, five minutes? Should we ask any follow-up questions?
If anyone has any questions, guys, let us know in the comments. And while you're doing that, yeah, I just wanted to circle back to what you guys were saying. It's never a lack of time with anything in our lives, right? We make excuses, but it's just a lack of priority. And like you said before, it's a lack of habits. People go, oh, I have to work. I'm home all day, like working on the chart. You can do sets of 20 push-ups in between. You can get a chin-up bar in your bathroom or between a doorway or whatever it is. You know, you can buy a kettlebell at home. It's just building that habit and not giving yourself that. I think so many people give themselves that excuse. You can sit on a stationary bike and shitpost on Twitter or whatever work you're doing. Like it's not that. And it just, I think that's really, really important because catch yourself when you're making those excuses and realize that it's not because there's a lack of, it's just a lack of prioritization. It's not a lack of time. It's a lack of prioritization. And that's 100%. Fine. Like you said, that's fine. But if you actually want to make that change, be honest with yourself.
Absolutely.
How you do one thing, right, is how you do everything. And one thing I will say since we started this podcast that I've taken away so much from Shine, I really started implementing way more breathing. You know, Erik, Shine does incredible breathwork stuff. He does videos. It's super cool. And I have to say, I have had profound success with, not that I'm like some crazy angry person like that, but just being able to breathe through things that before, like I would have just been like, what the fuck? You know, like, and it all comes down to like these things that I'm doing in the morning. and I do it during, I do like some breathing work in the middle of the day now. I never used to do that. And I feel 100% better. Like it has been profound, honestly. I want to thank you for that. Cause it's been, it's been a game changer to the point where like my wife's like, you've been real calm lately. And I'm like, yeah.
It works, man. It's, breathing is, I mean, it's how we live. It's how we survive. You know what I mean? Like it's such a simple, it's so simple. It's hard. You know what I mean? It's the truth. But when people can control their breathing, I mean, that's why fighters are so amazing. You know what I mean? They're getting punched. They're in the most stressful situation you could be in. You got a 205-pound dude jacked, ready to kill you. And they're just in there, they're rolling their shoulders. They're finding their space. It's amazing to watch, but their breathing is, I mean, pristine. I mean, they get themselves cooled down in 30 seconds. They're ready to go another 5 minutes. You know what I mean? It's crazy to watch. So yeah, breathing, man, is by far, I mean, I would say one of the most.
One thing that I wanted to, that I do that's different. I started doing this a few years ago. So like I don't run nearly as much as I used to, but when I run, a lot of people get hurt when they run because they push themselves too hard and they'll be panting and still trying to keep that pace. And what I found is I don't wear any wearables and I don't need to. I haven't for a long time. When I run, I put 4 pieces of gum in my mouth and I keep them in the front of my mouth. And what that does is I only breathe through my nose when I run. And it's like a governor. And like whatever pace I could keep like that, like it keeps me from exhausting and like getting hurt. And that has worked for me for years now. I meant to say that like so many episodes ago, but that's been a good one for me. Because it's like a governor.
That's a protocol, man. I give to my swimmers. I put water in their mouth and I have them hop on the ski erg and I have them work through their stroke, whether it's fly, whatever it might be. And that's one of the things that they do. It's one of the protocols they follow. They have to be able to control and regulate their breathing and their heart rate. Yeah. And I'll sit there and I'll try to put them in a stressful situation, yell at them to go faster, push harder, do that. And they have to control it. I want, this many RPMs, whatever it might be. Yeah. 100%, dude. That works great.
So if no one's got any questions, I don't want Shine to be late to his whatever the fuck he's going to. What are you doing right now? Front splits? What is?
No, I'm doing power yoga, and then.
What is power yoga, by the way? What does that mean? Is there like weights involved, or is it just?
No, it's just like it's a more flowing version of yoga, but sometimes like the power is like we'll do some like leg raises or so. Like it's just.
Oh, all right.
It's a little more like high intensity yoga, but it's kind of like a traditional vinyasa flow with a little extra kind of. It's not my favorite kind of yoga. It really isn't. Like,
how long is that class?
There's a good instructor here. It's all the classes I go to are around 50 minutes.
Okay, so you're doing that, and then you have another. You said you're doing something else too.
Spine mobility, and then front split mobility.
Real fast. What does a spine mobility class look like?
Like some of the stuff he was talking about, like elevating your back and your scapula, putting the weights, like a lot of like twisting stuff, just working on general spine health.
So important too. Yeah.
And I'm lucky. I don't have any of those responsibilities you guys said. I'll spend 5 hours training a day. I'll spend all the time training. Like the more I train, the more I train.
My table now.
Yeah. I'll spend 5 hours at the gym today.
Fuck yeah, though, dude. I love that. Because most people in your position wouldn't. That's the other thing. Like, it's not just excuses like for people with kids and shit. It's like excuses that people just make excuses to not be there. Like, I mean, you live on the beach. Most people aren't going to the gym for 5 hours.
Yeah, it's the first thing. Look, it's always the first thing too, man, that people get rid of, right? They want to pinch pennies and stuff. Like they get rid of like their fitness and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's $100,000 bill because something happened to them. You know what I mean? Like, I need surgery on my labrum. It's like, that's avoidable. You know what I mean? But
same thing too. I wanted to mention with mobility, a lot of people seek it out once they have an injury, and hey, however you get there is great. But there's really something to doing this as a preventative medicine. And I think that's something we really lose focus on, whether it's healthcare or fitness, is actually preventative measures. There's so much focus on treatment, but putting in this work now is that investment, like you said, and saving that $100,000 bill potentially later.
Yeah, absolutely. And like last thing I'll say to close, man, is however and whatever you choose to do, whether it's power yoga or, whatever it is, strength training or whatever, like anything you choose to do is fine if you enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like if you're a runner, you're a cyclist, whatever it is, like just do it. You know what I mean? But I would say the only thing is make sure there's some sort of strength training inside of your programming. All right, whether that's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, because muscle is the key to longevity. At the end of the day, that's been scientifically proven a million times. I'm not like a science-based lifter by any stretch of the imagination, but it's proven. I mean, there's studies upon studies that the people that have muscle typically have more longevity. Yeah. So if you take nothing else, man, get your body moving, pick up a couple light dumbbells, do some body weight, some calisthenics, some chin-ups, some push-ups, some dips, things like that. If you take nothing else, prioritize your muscle, prioritize protein, balance your diet out, master the boring shit, and you'll be all right.
But not too much muscle. Otherwise, you're going to die really, really quickly.
Very true.
This was awesome, Erik. I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much. And it's visualize.li on Instagram.
At visualizefitness.li.
VisualizeFitness.li.
Yeah, anybody wanted to ask a question or something they didn't get a chance to ask, please, man, feel free to DM me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'll give you whatever answers, or I got some ebooks and things like that. If anybody wants some 5-ingredient recipes and whatever the hell else you guys might need, I'll help you guys, however you guys need. So feel free to DM me.
That was great, man. Thank you, bro.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Great.
Thank you. Shine. Enjoy your day, brother.
Thanks, guys. Catch you on the next one, folks.
Most of us often chase rather pumps than established memes. And a green candle is somehow spoiled for us until it's screenshot. We stare at charts, forgetting it changes nothing. We watch charts, but not ourselves. This is a disaster. For as a result of confusing dopamine hits with actual profit, we are destroying our net worth. We are so tied up in FOMO and charts that we've lost all conviction. Time to wake up. What is alpha? Obviously, nobody can say, because it isn't just drawing lines on charts. It isn't rotation meta, that's just an idea. Alpha is the Giga cycle cannot be explained in words.